Hello everyone and welcome back to another Batman Miniature Game 3rd Edition Battle Report, and once again there is a new objective deck on the field to try out. In the 350 rep match being played today, the Penguin crew is taking to the field for the first time ever, and with their new objective deck obviously, but never used them in 2nd edition, so won't be able to offer up any kind of comparison to that. But Penguin will be going up against a 350 rep crew of Two-Face and his assorted associates. So new table layout, as you can see. Two quite large crews, so without further ado, let's just jump straight into going over the lists. So as previously stated, first time on the channel, a Penguin crew. And there is 9 minis in this list, being led by the man himself, the little man himself, Oswald Cobblepot, the Penguin, and his sidekick is, what's his name? Loose Lips. Loose Lips from the Arkham Origins video game. He also has Lark, which is his head of security / bodyguard, that makes him harder to hit as long as she's still alive and around him. Free Agent Polka Dot Man, maybe there just as a joke, or it might be pretty effective, I don't know, we'll see. And then an assorted bunch of his hired goons. The large lad at the back there is the Penguin Lieutenant, and he has a Venom Dose. That's the only extra bit of gear brought because there's a lot of guns and such. Then his elite thug is the one wearing the armour with the nightstick, and then Thug 1 and Thug 2. Thug 2 has a assault rifle, and then Gustav Gustafsson with his rifle at the back there just to fill out the points. And much like all the new objective decks coming out for like the Court of Owls, Two-Face, and Cobra, and everyone else, there is a gimmick to the Penguin list, and it is business counters. Anytime one of the following things happen, place a counter near this card to represent business counters. If a friendly model is KO'd or killed, you put one on here. If the opponent scores an objective card, you put one on here. And that's it. But you can only have at most 6 on the card at any one time, and if your boss is KO you can't spend them, and if your boss is killed you remove all business counters, but you can start gaining them again. And if you flip it over, you can spend a business counter during a friendly model's activation as long as it didn't have Audacity and it lets it do another action, as long as it's not an action it's already done. So you can't do 2 movement actions, 2 tactical, 2 special. But if you do that, you remove the top card of your objective deck, place it face down in the gaming area at the end of the recount phase, i.e. end of the turn. You flip it over and that many models suffer innovating, and then you also lose the card. But the other reason to collect business counters is a lot of his objective cards are benefited by having business counters just on this card. So there is more than just that one reason, although giving someone without Audacity, again if you have like for instance 9 minis and only 4 Audacity, giving a few extra people another thing to do is pretty good. A couple other things to mention: this Penguin has Handyman, so he can do 2 manipulates, or rather he can do a manipulate on top of something else. And he has a rule called Underworld King. If a friendly model scores a phase 3 card within 8 of him, you add +1 to just a counter that you're keeping track of. If a phase 3 card is scored by the opponent, you subtract 1. If the number is positive at the end of the game, you gain that many extra victory points. So something else to keep track of. We'll certainly try to, but it's an opportunity, potentially, to score a lot of bonus points without even needing a card. So comparatively less miniatures in the Two-Face crew, 7 to the Penguin's 9, so there'll be 2 passes on offer. Being led by the man himself, of course. So we have Two-Face, we have Free Agent Scarecrow, not Back to Gotham, what was it called? Terror in Gotham set, one of my favourite miniatures actually. So we've got that Scarecrow, see how he does in 3rd edition. High Security Henchman as a little added extra. And then from the Two-Face gang, we have, I think it's 3, 4, 6 and 7, or 2, 4, 6 and 7 as far as his thugs go. Basically, Tommy gun, 2 rifles, and a pistol. And as is tradition with Two-Face in 3rd edition, because he has so many guns and whatnot, no extra gear bought because it's all taken up by ammunition. And he will be starting on the good side of his coin. So both crews are set up. Two-Face has taken the left side and Penguin is on the right, and we'll go over who has Audacity and whatnot in a second. I think I might already mentioned Two-Face is starting on the good side. There is one phase 1/phase 2 card being played, and it's a new one from the Penguin crew called Smuggled Goods, which we'll hopefully get in focus here in a second. There's quite a bit of text. There we go. Place an event marker within 8 inches of the enemy deployment zone. Enemy model may manipulate it to move it. Enemy models move it 4 inches. Penguin's models move it 2 inches plus X, where X is equal to the number of business counters you currently have, which at present is 0. Score this card if it's closer to your deployment zone than the opponent's by the end of the round. So the event marker, that's just inside 16 because it's 8 inch deployment plus 8 inches more to be within 8 of the deployment zone. So it's there. Two-Face's crew can manipulate it to move it 4. Penguin's crew can manipulate it to move it 2 unless they start dying, in which case then it will become more because they have business scanners. So we can have a look at the deployments here. Polka Dot Man with Audacity, we've got the assault rifle guy here, the knife guy next to Sir Graying, although he is illuminated. Gustav Gustafsson has deployed in this watchtower here, so he isn't going to be getting touched because no one has a grapple gun. And then basically everyone else in a big old line. Penguin, his lieutenant, and Loose Lips are all the ones with Audacity over here. And if we come back over this side to the gun line, there is Two-Face. His sniper's up there, not quite as elevated as Gustav, but hey. Other henchmen with the guns are right next to him. He has Audacity. The one with the pistol over here has Audacity. Scarecrow has undercover, so he can deploy outside of deployment up to 8 inches, which he has done. He is illuminated, but he's hidden behind this building. He has Audacity, and of course, High Security Henchman has hidden, so he can be anywhere basically, and he also has Audacity. So Two-Face's crew does have 2 passes that they could use, but if they choose not to, they will be getting first activation as the game goes underway. So the Two-Face crew did actually opt to use one of their passes, so Penguin's crew went first, and his overly swole lieutenant that started next to him activated with Audacity moved 8 inches and placed a suspect marker down in the middle of the field. Didn't score anything off of that, but did put another new card in play called Profitable Negotiations. Played in Phase 3, scores at the end of the round. During a friendly model's activation, look at your opponent's hand, choose a when to play Phase 3 objective card, and return it to their hand. If that card has not scored, score this card. And this is pretty much a hard counter to a Two-Face deck because of his coin mechanics, so if Two-Face does not score Kill Them Twice at the end of this turn, this scores, and he can't because he's on the wrong side of the coin to do that, so basically this is a guarantee, which is, you know, good for Penguin, bad for him. Gangster 4 was first up for Two-Face with Audacity. He moved forwards 8 inches and he placed down a suspect marker, which he could have done anyway because he was within Inspire range for Two-Face, but he just moved where he is and did nothing else. He could technically see through here, but opted not to shoot this turn. That is the guy who has rapid reload though, so if he has a special action he can spend, he will be able to fire his gun 2 turns in a row. Penguin's elite thug was next, without Audacity but within Inspire range of the man himself, so he moved up to the Sir Graying and also put down a suspect marker. Could not get close enough to the event marker, so it's very unlikely that's going to score. Thug 7 with his bolt action rifle was next up for Two-Face, which is this gentleman here. He stayed still, he didn't have Audacity. He shot outside of optimal range, so he lost his die and was just rolling the 1 at the lieutenant over here. The 1 die did get through though, for that 3 blood damage you can see, and also as a resource, heads or tails was played on the good side. When a friendly model performs a ranged attack, place a friendly suspect in contact with the target. So there's now a Two-Face suspect marker in base to base with the lieutenant that took 3 of his... how tanky is he? He has 7 health. The wonderful Polka Dot Man activated next with Audacity. He was down there next to that henchman in the car. He moves 10 inches, he did so, and he has the ability to just go over anything, not that it mattered here, but in general he can do that. Stopped here, and then used his short range, because he was just within 8 discs, to fire at that henchman over there. It's also a throwing weapon, so you don't lose anything from moving and chucking them. And they're only single blood each, but he still managed to get 3 blood through, so not too shabby. Didn't score anything off of it, but did certainly bloody a nose. Scarecrow activated, and he had been around that corner there with High Security Henchman. He had Audacity. He came around the corner right there. He placed down a suspect marker, and that scored for Two-Face. 2 makes this better because he's on the good side. Place a friendly suspect marker within 4 inches of an enemy model and have at least one other friendly suspect marker within 4 inches of a different enemy model. That one right there, and then he is right there. Then Scarecrow used Inspire Fear to make the elite thug take a willpower test, and there is what he rolled, and you get to pick the 2 lowest. That equals 11, and his willpower is 5, so he failed it by 6, and if you fail the test by 6 or more, you instantly die. Scarecrow just scared a man to death, so he is gone. But on the plus side, that gives Penguin's crew a business counter, so they're up to 1, and also triggers not buying, don't touch. That was me trying to do Nolan North's Penguin English accent from the Arkham games. When an enemy... oh, is that in... there we go. Well, maybe. Almost. It's close enough. When an enemy model removes a friendly suspect or a friendly model is removed as a casualty, mark it in some way. That model has a friendly suspect marker within 4 inches at the end of the round. Scarecrow already has a suspect marker within 4 inches of him, and I don't think any of Two-Face's crew can actually get over and remove that. So this is a guaranteed score, more or less, at the end of the round. But that's good that Penguin also has cards that scores off of, well, either his own henchman or own crew getting murdered, or just from a suspect marker being revealed, which is pretty good. Penguin's thug that's just armed with a knife with the high-vis jacket had started base to base with the sewer, activated without audacity, just manipulated the sewer to move through it, and has moved all the way down here so that he is supporting Polka Dot Man. Didn't do anything else. High Security Henchman was next up for Two-Face's crew. He was behind there. He walked all the way around here, most likely throwing his life away for the good of getting victory points scored. He put down his suspect marker within 4 of Loose Lips and Lark, I think, as well. And that indeed scored another 2 makes this better, because there's a suspect marker next to Scarecrow, and there's a suspect marker next to the Lieutenant, and, well, actually that's about it. But presumably, because this is, again, a different instance of the one he just put down, it still triggers the scoring condition, even though that was used for the other one scoring. Doesn't say you can't do that, so presumably that is allowed. So that is another 2 points on the board instantly for Two-Face. Penguin's head of security, Lark, activated. She didn't have audacity and couldn't use anything else really, so she just used a tactical action to shoot High Security Henchman with her automatic gun. It's blood stun, as most pistols are, and got 2 hits through on him for 2 blood, 2 stun. High Security Henchman, as always, is overly tanky. He has 8 endurance, so he's got 6 left. Luigi with his Tommy gun activated without audacity, but close enough to Two-Face to have the Inspire. He moved 8 inches over to the corner of the building here, and he put down his suspect marker, which is outside of 2 inches on top of the deployment zone, so it's a safe pick. Actually, I just realised it might not be outside of 4 of him. Might need to be moved slightly there just to make sure it's outside of 4. I'll measure to make sure in a second. Didn't do anything else with his activation, so it's over to Penguin, who still has 3 activations left, I think. Loose Lips activated, the Penguin's sidekick, and he is armed with a shotgun that I think is double blood, but opted instead, for shenanigans perhaps happening eventually, moved into base to base with High Security Henchman to use his single blood knife instead. High Security Henchman used 2 effort, Loose Lips also used 2 effort, all said and done, 3 hits for 3 blood, giving him a total of 5 of his 8 health gone. Got a crit on the strength die though, so he's also knocked down, so he's going to be -1 defense now. Two-Face activated and moved up here. He is illuminated by that light, but he does have some cover if Gustav decides to maybe try and get line of sight of him. I'm not actually 100% sure if he can see him. Shot his Tommy gun even though he moved at the Lieutenant. It does double blood, single stun. Only 1 hit got through. It was a bad roll. And he ignores the stun damage from being large because he ignores 1 stun per attack. But it did score another, well sorry, not score. It did cause another heads or heads to be played as a resource. When a friendly model performs a ranged attack, place a suspect marker in contact with the target. Now he already had one in place from the last time this was played as a resource, but it doesn't say you can't do it if they already have one next to them, so presumably it's allowed. So we're going to play that it is, just to get that card out of the hand. So Penguin activated and moved into base to base with High Security Henchman. He's got a double blood umbrella sword or something, and played Everyone Has a Price during his activation, which will hopefully be in focus sometime soon. There we go. Play this card when any model that is outnumbered is the target of an attack. The opponent chooses if the target may not effort, or you remove 2 friendly suspect markers. If you remove any of them, you score the card. Now, of course, High Security Henchman was going to die either way, so he opted, fine, I won't effort. And as a result, Penguin with his double blood actually managed to do 8 blood, so even if he hadn't been damaged at all by anything prior, High Security Henchman is dead. But Everyone Has a Price does not score because no friendly suspect markers were removed. Last activation for turn 1 for Two-Face's crew was the gangster with the Winchester rifle, no audacity. He just moved up using these crates for cover, giving him kind of eyes on in the middle over there. And there's 2 activations left for Penguin's crew. I forgot Gustav up in the tower, but then also him over there. And we can just cover those last 2 activations right now. The Penguin thug with the assault rifle just moved forward, not even his full movement, just trying to give himself a nice big line of sight AoE with people blocking the way because he's got a triple blood assault rifle, which is very powerful. Gustav just has a 5-shot single blood. He shot at Scarecrow, and that's a good idea because this Scarecrow has charming, which means if you want to hit him in close combat you have to pass a test first, but not in the case of a ranged attack. So he shot down at him. He got 5 hits through, and he actually did 5 blood. This Scarecrow has 6 endurance, so he's only got 1 health left. And as a truck pulls up outside my window on this very warm day, I'll cut here, and we'll be back with the cleanup. So then Battle Round 1, a slight correction, because Two-Face scored 2 objective cards, the Penguin crew actually has 2 more business counters, so they are up to 3. As far as any Phase 4 cards, no cards at all for Phase 4 from either side, but we do have the plethora of in-play Penguin cards to go through. Starting with Smuggled Goods, it did not score because no one moved that event marker, and it does go until the end of the round, so that is discarded, and the event marker is removed. Profitable Negotiations, however, does score because Two-Face did not score Kill Them Twice, so that is 2 points on the board for Penguin's crew. And because Scarecrow, actually that would have been a thing, if Scarecrow died this wouldn't have scored. Not Bind, Don't Touch has also scored because Scarecrow triggered this card and he does have a suspect marker right next to him. Loose Lips has healed one of his 2 stun that he gave himself to effort, and that's it. Top of turn 2, and hopefully you can see who has Audacity from this bird's eye view. A lot of cards are being played as Phase 1, Phase 2 cards. We'll start with Two-Face. Simple one we've seen lots of times. A Die Hard card is being played if the sniper at the back, who can't even fire this turn, lives to the end of the turn. This will score for 2 points, but he is also playing the Balance of Justice. Now this is a Twisted Side card, so it will not score unless by the end of the turn, which is when this procs, he is switched to the other side, but it is playable right now. But Twisted Side, an even number of models are removed as casualties this round, so this will be kept tally of anyway, but if he hasn't switched to the Twisted Side, even if it is an even number by the end of the turn, it won't score. So that's 2 cards in play for him. For the Penguin side, another Smuggled Goods, exactly the same, is being played, and the marker has been placed there. And remember, they're currently on 3 business counters, so they can move it 5 inches if they manipulate it. So much more likely to score. And they are playing another one called Territory Fight, potentially 3 victory points. It's a Phase 2 card, scores at the end of the round. You split the gaming table into squares of 18 by 18. The middle is roughly there, so it's just kind of like across there like that. If you have more models in a particular zone than the enemy, you count as controlling it, and then at the end of the turn, you have more controlled zones than the enemy. Currently, Penguin controls this quadrant, Penguin definitely controls this quadrant, but Two-Face definitely controls this quadrant and this quadrant, so right now it is even. Sensing that he's not long for this world, Scarecrow got the round started for Two-Face's crew, and to make this better was played as a resource to search for the other coin and play and then shuffle your deck. So the Twisted Side is now in effect. He walked to the far side of the Penguin Lieutenant here, used his Double Blood Scythe. Okay defense roll, honestly, but not enough to stop the Scythe and the Strength die getting through for a total of 6 blood, much more than was required. That the Lieutenant is dead and triggering a Kill Them Twice, 1 turn too late. Twisted Side, remove 2 friendly suspect markers within 4 of a friendly model that inflicts KO or removes an enemy model as a casualty. I hope that was in focus. There we go. And there is 2 suspect markers, so those are gone, but Kill Them Twice scores. He then tried to inspire fear on this henchman because he's only got 4 willpower, and wouldn't you know, he rolled a 2-2 and a 4 or something, so he actually passed and didn't get any negative effects from Inspire Fear. So before we cover Penguin's first activation for the turn, in what Scarecrow did during his activation, he did actually trigger another Not Bind, Don't Touch, because he killed a friendly miniature, which also gave +1 business counter as well, so it's up to 4. So as long as at the end of the round there is a suspect marker within 4 inches of Scarecrow, that will score. Now that does mean Scarecrow shouldn't get murdered this turn, or that's points that will just go to waste. So we'll have to wait and see what happens. The Thug with the Knife activated with Audacity. He moved up to the event marker, manipulated it so it moves 2 plus the number of business counters you have, so it moves 6. Moved her over there, needs to be closer to the deployment zone by the end of the turn to score the Smuggled Goods. The Toothface Gangster with the revolver, who did end up over there, eventually activated. The Gamble was played as a resource. That's the second of the 3 resource points Two-Face has spent this turn. It was mostly just spent to get the card out of the way because it's a good side card. But you try and guess the card of the opponent's objective deck. If you guess it, you pick someone suffering Enervating 1, or to make them suffer Enervating 1. Didn't get it, doesn't matter, it's gone. From where he was standing, he shot his Double Blood Revolver into the Thug that just activated, 3 hits through for 6 blood. He is dead, and that also scored for just a quick 1 point. A little catch, a bullet for doing at least 6 with a ranged attack. So it is a bit of a waste of a man with a triple blood assault rifle, but he doesn't want to kill Scarecrow, so he moved and he manipulated the event marker to move it with +1 additional now because of the guy who just died. So it's well into the deployment zone. Basically guarantees at this point smuggled goods is still scoring, rather, because no one is going to be able to get over to it, let alone move it far enough back that it's closer to Two-Face's deployment. So that's a given, but it is a bit of a waste that the triple blood machine gun is not getting to shoot at anyone. A holding pattern activation for Two-Face's crew next. The sniper who's reloading, he shuffled slightly, he's busy reloading his rifle. He's the one who needs to live to the end of a turn because of Die Hard. He did nothing else, he's just sitting right there. Loose Lips activated and did nothing else because he didn't have Audacity, he's a sidekick, so no free inspire. He literally just put down a suspect marker that is outside of the deployment +2 inches, barely. So it's a legal placement and also outside of 4 of the friendly one there. Gangster 3 with his Winchester rifle activated and shot into the knight, so he lost a die, the strength die, and he shot at Gustav and he actually got 2 hits in, and he's a triple blood, so that's 6 blood, so Gustav does not get a chance to do anything else even if he wanted to. He is dead. Now that doesn't score any card, and that does also make it that it's an odd number of casualties currently, because the Penguin Lieutenant, the guy with the knife, and now Gustav Gustafsson are the total number of models killed this turn. It needs to be an even amount, so one more person on either side needs to die if Two-Face wants the balance of justice to score. Penguin activated, and it was a simple activation for him, but I should just mention, totally been forgetting to keep track of Underworld King. I don't remember if Phase 3 cards have been scored with an 8 of him. Definitely Two-Face has been scoring a lot in general though, so that's probably keeping it at 0 regardless. But yeah, have not been following it. He revealed his own suspect marker after moving into base to base with it. It became valuable commodities, so he is now holding onto the loose. So that's yet another card in play, although that one is in play until the end of the game. Luigi and his Tommy gun, who did eventually end up moving there after first of all doing a tactical action to shoot his Tommy gun at Polka Dot Man, got lots of hits through on Polka Dot Man, which would do 6 blood 3 stun. However, he has power armor, so he can effort to ignore 2 damage per hit. So he's actually going to do 2 more effort, giving himself 5 stun in total, but bringing that blood damage down by 4 to 2. So he is 1 away from being knocked out now, but much less close to being murdered. And I think that was Two-Face's... Oh no, Two-Face has still got an activation to go. Lark, I think, is the last one, now that Gustav is dead, to go for the Penguin. Oh no, Polka Dot Man, of course, hasn't gone either, and he lived. So 2 activations for them. Polka Dot Man put down a suspect marker and then moved into cover a little bit here. Didn't do anything else with his turn. Just trying to stay alive and plot towards objective cards, basically. So it's over to Two-Face to end his turn, and then back over to Lark for Penguin's crew. So with being unable to fire his turn thanks to reloading, Kingpin? Wrong game. Two-Face charged forwards into the middle of the field there and is heading towards trouble. And then we can just cover Lark's no Audacity activation as well. She just moved into base to base with the suspect marker. Technically could have spent a business counter to get a manipulate to remove it now, but didn't seem worth it at this point. So that does take us to the end of the round. So things are certainly going to speed up now with so many people already dead. End of battle round 2, we've got to go through cards, so let's start with Penguin's plethora of cards. Valuable commodities stays in play because Penguin is holding the loot, it won't score till the end of the game. Not bind, don't touch. Scarecrow stayed alive and he is within of a suspect marker, so that is also going to score. So that is a score, which was probably not in focus, but trust me, it scored. With smuggled goods, event marker was right inside the deployment, so that did score for an out of focus 3. Any second now. It really doesn't play nice with these cards when they have a lot of text on them, does it? Wow. Well, either way, I think that's in focus now. There we go. And as for territory fight, Penguin holds this quarter, Penguin holds that quarter, Two-Face holds that quarter, and I'm pretty sure this is either a draw or claimed by Two-Face, because, well, Polka Dot Man is there and that goon is there, so that would be a draw, which would mean if it counts as neither or 1 each, that would still be 2 playing 3 or 2 playing 1. So actually, I'll measure that up properly, actually, just in case, because it's close. I think that might score. Well, give me a second. This does actually not score. The 18 by 18 line comes roughly here, basically right where Two-Face is standing, so he gets to choose which section he influences. Forgot Scarecrow was there as well. Polka Dot Man is ever so slightly in this quadrant, so Two-Face actually holds this quadrant. This is a draw, this is Two-Face's, this is Penguin's, so it does not score. And of course, forgot the Two-Face cards. Die Hard does score because that hired goon was not touched for 2. The Balance of Justice, however, does not because there was 3 casualties that turn, which is an odd amount, so that is gone. Top of round 3, and for Penguin's crew, most of who's left has Audacity besides the Assault Rifle goon down there, who's probably in a spot of bother because Two-Face's crew is getting first activation again for the 3rd turn in a row. Speaking of which, he, Scarecrow, and a couple of the hired goons over here have Audacity, the others do not, although most of them are reloading besides the Sniper and Two-Face himself. One Phase 1/Phase 2 card being played. It is yet another Balance of Justice for Two-Face's crew, which I refuse to move until it is in focus. This camera shall not defeat me. But Twisted Side, an even number of models are removed from the game as casualties this round. So it counts both sides if I didn't say that the first time this was played. Ooh, this is vexing me, this camera today. I have no idea why it struggles so much with these new cards. Good enough. I'm going to call that good enough. It's the only one in play. Everyone is as you see them. Two-Face's crew is going first, and I imagine one of these two is not long for this world. So it was indeed Scarecrow that got Battle Round 3 started. He inspired fear in the assault rifle wielding Penguin Thug and got, I feel by like 2, I think it did Scared and Terror 1 or Terror 2, something, either way. It did enough. It did an effect, 1 of 2 I think, inflict an effect on an enemy for a quick 2-point score. So Scarecrow's, he's done a lot. He went into base to base, so they didn't technically need to, but that was just in case he messed up so that the assault rifle wouldn't fire at full rate of fire. The goon efforted 3 times. Scarecrow could only effort twice thanks to his injuries, and did so. Still got 3 hits through with his double blood scythe. 6 blood. So that assault rifle, that triple blood assault rifle that's so expensive and could potentially be so good, didn't get a fire the entire game. It is gone, and that's a 1 counter on the Balance of Justice for this turn. It was Loose Lips that activated for Penguin first. However, in Scarecrow once again murderizing a henchman, it triggered the final not buying, don't touch. So once again, if Scarecrow has a suspect marker within 4 of them, 4 at the end of the round, this will score. Now currently, that's outside of 4, and I think that's outside of 4, so, and he's close enough to deployment that it might not be possible this turn, but it is in play if Polka Dot Man gets a chance to actually do something. So, Loose Lips activated with Audacity. He came around here, he revealed this suspect marker, and he actually scored his own objective card, amazingly. So it's called Street Transaction, Loose Lips card. Let's try and get this in focus as well. Hopefully that is getting there. Almost any second now. I think that's good. A friendly model reveals an enemy suspect marker within 6 inches of 2 friendly suspect markers, and also a model with the leader or sidekick rank. Suspect marker well within 6, and sidekick and leader both there, so that is scored for 3 points. That was drawn into the hand at the top of the turn, and it was just a perfect setup to score, so that was very serendipitous. Two-Face activated and moved into base to base with Polka Dot Man to punch him out. Polka Dot Man didn't have the ability to do an effort. Actually, I think he's obstinate, so he might have been able to do 1. Either way, Two-Face efforted once, got 2 punches through for 4 damage, knocked out Polka Dot Man, which does not count towards the Balance of Justice yet, because knockouts don't count, it has to be casualties. Does score though, a heads on the twisted side of the coin. A friendly model inflicts at least 4 damage on an enemy model that had an Audacity marker. He did, it's been moved now, but that does score. And now, complete with actual Two-Face coin, we get to see if Two-Face just murders Polka Dot Man. So, he does. Polka Dot Man is dead, thanks to the Judgment trait. Oof, and that will add +1 to the Balance of Justice. So the Penguin crew is a little bit thin on the ground now, with just Lark and the man himself to activate. She moved 10 inches with Audacity. She put down a suspect marker that is outside of 10 and outside of 4 of that one, and that means that will guarantee the not buy and don't touch scores at the end of the round. And she also played another profitable negotiation. During a friendly model's activation, you look in the opponent's hand for a phase 3 card. If they don't score it, you score that. And picked another good side only card. I've forgotten offhand what it was called now, but definitely not scoring because Two-Face isn't on that side. So the sniper henchman, who actually should have a marker because he fired the last of his ammunition, noticed that when Lark ended her turn, she was nicely illuminated right there. So he fired, the 2 shots got through for 6 blood. And, oh, actually, does she have a bulletproof vest? Because if so, then she will not be dead. Let's just come back around here real quick and check. No, she does not have a bulletproof vest. She is indeed dead, leaving just Loose Lips and Penguin alive on the Penguin crew, and just the Penguin himself to activate. And then there's still those 3 henchmen there for Two-Face. So the Penguin activated, and he just fled 8 inches over here and put down a suspect marker, didn't do anything else. And that does, as I said previously, just leave these 3 gangsters, 2 of which have Audacity, but I believe all 3 of them are reloading, or maybe he isn't. Maybe it was turn 1 he shot. He's definitely reloading because he killed Gustav. He's reloading because he injured Polka Dot Man and almost killed him. Don't quite remember him, but he's not going to get close enough to shoot Penguin, so they'll probably just start moving towards him, but let's see. So we can cover those 3 gangsters. He did absolutely nothing, just stayed still. He's still got 1 round of ammunition he'll be able to fire in the final turn. These 2 just moved their 8 inches towards Penguin and or Loose Lips because they're the only last 2 enemy models, and that does take us to the end of the turn. So not looking good number of models wise for Penguin's crew at all, but profitable negotiations has scored for them for 2 victory points. Not buying Don't Touch, the final one, thanks to Scarecrow again, has scored, and Valuable Commodities is still in play because Penguin is holding the loot. And as for Two-Face's side in the Balance of Justice, 3 miniatures died that turn, which is an odd amount. So once again, it does not score and is discarded. And with that, we're going into the final round. Top of turn 4, and when it's probably not going to matter that much, Penguin's crew is finally getting first turn. There is 1 Phase 2 card being played. It's by Penguin's crew. It is the final territory fight, or maybe the second to last. I don't remember how many we've seen of these. Either way, it ain't going to score. It was just to get out of the hand, to get another potential option. With only Penguin and Loose Lips left, they are not controlling majority sections of this board. But hey, it's something to play. So Penguin got the final round started, and he actually has a triple blood umbrella cannon with 2 rounds of ammunition. He shot it at the Tommy gun wielding Luigi, 2 hits through, 6 blood, just casually just murdered him. So he is gone, will not be getting an activation, that's an Audacity wasted. And then he moved his 8 inches. Very hard to see, but he's just hiding to hold on to the loot because that's his only chance for scoring any cards. So it would have been a great payday victory points and objective cards wise if it had gone right, but it didn't. Two-Face moved into base to base with Loose Lips, hoping to knock him out to get that judgment flip. Efforted 3 times, Loose Lips did not. Even with the extra dice thrown in, the attack roll was pretty appalling. 2 hits got through, Loose Lips took 4 stun. I think he has like 6, at least 6 willpower. So he is conscious, and he's just going to get a turn, if nothing else. Loose Lips charged forward and put down his suspect marker over here, hoping that once he did so, Penguin's crew would have 2 more suspect markers in play than Two-Face. They have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Two-Face has 1, 2, 3, and there is a 4th over there. So sadly, because they're only ahead by 1, can't play a card. So there is a bunch of activations left for Two-Face's crew. Him up there, but he's out of ammo. He can fire, he can move and fire, but won't be able to reach Penguin, and Scarecrow can do something. Whether or not any of them can do anything to an objective card, let's see. If not, we're just at the end of the game. The only setup to a potential score that Two-Face's crew could manage at this point was to kill them twice. This gangster moved over here, put down a suspect marker, so that there was 2 within 4 of the Winchester guy to take a shot at Loose Lips. If he'd killed him, it would have been able to remove the suspect markers and score. However, only 2 hits got through for 6 blood. He has 7 endurance, and Two-Face only did KO damage. So Loose Lips lived, and it's irrelevant if he gets killed by anything else, because no one else, like only Scarecrow, could potentially reach him, and I don't think he has reach on his scythe. Even if he killed him, it does not matter. So we are at the end of the game, and we can just quickly cover so that we can go straight to the final pile of cards, because I'm very interested who's won. Territory fight, absolutely not. Gone, did not score. Valuable Commodities, though, did, because Penguin ended the game with the loot. So there's quite a hefty pile of cards for both sides. Two-Face's deck is one of the hardest, absolutely. Let's just move some of the stuff out of the way. So let's see Two-Face's score. 2, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Actually, that wasn't nearly as much as I thought it was. Is that really all we scored? 2, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Yeah, okay, I felt like they did a lot better than that. Wow, only 13. Alright, well, 13. There's 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. So Penguin did take it 19 to 13. A lot of that was because of Crane ending his turns after murdering someone close to a suspect marker and no one being able to remove it. If those don't buy, not buy and don't touch hadn't scored, that'd be a difference of 6, which would make it a draw, actually. So, very interesting. Penguin's deck definitely easier than Two-Face's deck. Two-Face's is one of the worst, honestly. Very hard to score with. Penguin has some very interesting cards. A lot of them are only worth 2, but he does have some good 3-score ones that require a bit more work. I think his downside is he starts getting thin on the ground real easy, especially if the opponent has guns. Like, none of his goons have a fantastic amount of endurance. Well, not too bad, actually. His base goons are like 5 endurance, so it's not like Organized Crime where they're all like 4 willpower, 4 endurance. So they're a little bit sturdier than I was giving them credit for. What Two-Face does well is murdering people with guns. Doesn't lead to scoring cards easily because of his coin mechanic, but he can murder people with his crew, that's for sure. So, actually, it might have been more if Underworld King had been tracked successfully. But I think with the number of cards Two-Face scored, it probably still would have been in the negatives, so probably not a difference there anyway. But had a much more enjoyable time with that Penguin crew and Penguin new objective deck than certainly the Two-Face crew, and like most recently the Court of Owls as well. I think next time we'll be trying out the Cobra Kulayaga deck. Try some cultists, see how they perform. I've already used them a little bit online, but curious to see how they'll do as well. Thank you for watching this video. I sincerely hope you enjoyed. That was a fun one, I think. Thanks for watching. See you next time. Ta for now.